How's it going, everyone? It is Friday, July 19th, 2024, and let's get into the pick from yesterday's video. I had snow as a short, and so far today, snow has been pretty flat for the day. So we're not making too much judgment here on snow since this is a swing. I'm leaning on the D1 over here. We zoom in a little bit to the M30. You can see that we made a big move down. The stock is compressing. That's okay. Not a lot of retracement back into here. So I think if I can get through here, it's the next leg lower. But on this kind of breakout, it's going to be rare that we get a back-to-back sort of candle. We might pause for 1 or 2 days, and then we get that next little drop. So nothing crazy on snow here. D1 bias is still fine, and we're just going to see what the market does. This is also a half size for a few reasons. It's a contra D1 trend, and it is a lower volume on the breakthrough. So that's why it's sized down and it's a little bit more manageable. But that's it. So let's take a look at what has been happening today. So long-term D1 bias, we are still mildly bullish. We are in this upward sloping trend channel here. We're getting pretty close to the bottom of this channel. So that's something we're watching for over here. A break would not mean that we're not bullish on a longer-term basis, fundamentally or technically. It would just mean that we would have to be a little more careful, a little less bullish in terms of how strong this pullback is. But right now, this is a normal pullback, in my opinion, right? This is a normal pullback considering the length of this trend. So I think any decent pullback to the dot of the trend line, perhaps even to something like 43.50 is a pretty good price as we flush out some of these bullish specs in the last move. And you can see this is why it pays to be ahead of the curve here. You missed this last leg of the rally, this low volume light float up. But if you're swinging this, right, you get flushed out. We erased all of those gains in about 3 days. We erased, I don't know, about 2 weeks of gains. So these happen fast, and you're better off kind of being on the sidelines for this last leg of the rally. And, you know, again, pro traders, they're ready for this rally. Look, we get some light volume rally here. We're kind of ready for this rally somewhere over here, right? We got this gap up. I was ready for this pullback early June, and I was about a month early to this, and we're finally getting the move down. So still mildly bullish on the short term or on the longer term. Nothing has majorly changed technically or fundamentally. We're going to watch how mega cap tech earnings do in a few weeks. On a shorter term time frame, we are bearish. We're decently bearish here. We've had a pretty big gap down. No bounce on this, and here's where I like to see the HA candles. Gap down here, no bounce, right? Another move down, and then we've had sort of a choppy grind lower. So we got a couple of bounces in here. This is a pretty decent move down, but you can see that there have been little bounces in here and little buyers making their way into this move. So yesterday we had a bearish trend day. This was some nice price action. We got a bit of a weak bounce, and then we got a next leg lower. Today we have just been grinding lower, right? We got tall bounces, and then we get faded, tall bounces, and then we get faded. So you want to join in on these bounces, and you want to sell into strength on these long red candles. So that's how you would trade SPY. I think there's probably 2 opportunities setting up here. The first one was a short earlier in the day at 10:25. Assuming that we could break through the low of the day, which we did. Now, we broke through the low of the day, and I took some gains on my shorts here, assuming that we would get a snapback rally into the range. Now, we didn't quite get that, and the key to that is that we didn't get an immediate move within 1 or 2 bars. It was a couple of bars, and then we got a slower move back into here. Now, it is like a decently fast move relative to this, but it wasn't a big move in a single candle that erased all these gains. So we pulled back to the VWAP. We got some tails over here, which signals some resistance. Then we got this next drop lower with a nice little high volume doji at the low of the day. This was sort of a key decision point in my opinion. I didn't know if we were going to bounce or if you would get a double top, if we get a double bottom here or a marginal new low, or if we would start to go down lower. We started to inch down lower, and this is a bit of an air pocket here, kind of choppy. Then we got a little bit of bounce where we tested this breakout range. We got some tails over here, and then a little hammer closing at the below the 8 EMA, breaking this upward sloping trend line. So that is a nice area to get short. So I took one little small win here on crowd from about here to here. Actually missed my exit on that. Or sorry, not crowd, on coin. Although this is looking pretty weird. But this has been a pretty difficult day to trade, in my opinion. You have to be very selective, and it's difficult for a couple of reasons. So one, we're at the end of a very big move, a very big contra trend move, right? So there's a higher chance of reversal risk. The second thing is that technically we are in between a couple of levels of SPY. So we were chopping around this AVWAP for a little bit, which has us cautious. We also had horizontal support right here. This is coming up over here at around 550. So we're chopping in between these two levels. So we had to see what was going to happen here. Now we're actually getting some separation. We have some room to this downward sloping trend line, but we had a couple levels to clear intraday. We weren't quite sure if you're at some levels to clear. We've already made a big move. You know that this is a chance where buyers could step in. So you have to be a little more cautious. So that's what we're seeing here intraday. I took a little short on SPY right here. So I'm probably going to sell into strength on a nice long red candle that starts to really pull away from the 8 EMA. And, I'm not really in a whole lot right now. I took a small short on crowd and I got filled right here. I took a quick dollar, but just making very tiny moves, and I'm looking to fade bounces on these stocks. So crowd started to fade over here, and then I took profits on this little candle. So I took a little dollar here, a little 50 cents here, right? So just making tiny moves today. So the real question is, what trades can we make today? And I think this is a pretty hard juncture to trade. I don't want to take any swing shorts because we're at the end of the move. I don't want to take any swing longs because we haven't had confirmation. We may take some day trade shorts, but the move has already happened. So I'm not sure if I can really recommend any trades today. And I usually do like to recommend a trade. But it's just hard to find a lot of great opportunities. And, I don't want to press my luck. I think this is a time where you should be very, very passive with your trading overall and not look to extend your portfolio. We want to be ahead of the move. So with that in mind, I am going to look at some bullish picks, and we're not going to give any trades yet, but we're going to look at some stocks that are doing really, really well. So if I'm going to go to my tags here, I had D1 pullbacks. I may have to update this list because some of them got completely destroyed. So one that I liked quite a bit here was I liked CCL. You can see that this stock has been grinding higher. It's a pretty choppy stock, and the IV is fairly high. So I think it sets up really well for a put credit spread. I think something like the 1750 put credit spread could work pretty well on the stock. I'd want to see the market find support before getting into this trade, but that's one option to look at in the future. Lilly has made a massive move down. I was considering taking a pullback to the 8 EMA, and I'm very glad I waited because I avoided this huge bloodbath. A lot of times in trading, it's just avoiding bad trades rather than trying to force really good trades. Workday, tried to get into this gap. It was looking good over here. Had a pretty big rejection back down. I'm going to look at my good D1 picks, see if there's anything that is going well. I was keeping an eye on JMIA. Still compressing over here. Couldn't quite get over this level, but it's testing this over here. So if we can get out of this compression, then JMIA is going to be a pretty nice pick. So this one I'm keeping an eye on. The other one that I like quite a bit is Docu. Also, I like this for a put credit spread. So overall, on the D1, it's not super great in my opinion. We have a little bit of a bearish trend, but I do like how we have a lot of support at this 200-day SMA that I'm leaning on here, as well as this upward sloping trend line, and a VWAP lines up very well over here. Stock is pretty choppy and has pretty high IVs. So what I'm looking at here, potentially on Docu, something like the 53. You get somewhere at the 53 level here, and if it breaks down, you have a very clear pathway to get out of the trade. 53, 52. I think that's something I would look at. So if we take a look at those puts right here, the 53, 52 puts, if we even go out just like a week or two, all right, so that is a bid-ask spread's pretty wide. How about August 2nd here? Yeah, these are some super wide bid-ask spreads. You can get that for about 40 cents here, which is pretty good, all things considered. The August 2nd ones. Now, you have to keep in mind there's a couple events coming up. Mega cap tech earnings, FOMC statement, market still has to find support. So we want to wait for all those to come into play. The nice thing about Docu is that I think it'll be fairly unbothered by some of those major movers. It'll be a little more resistant. So just keep an eye on this. Could be one that we'll set up later. Let's also do a little bit of a search to find some stocks that are looking very, very strong, right? This is a time where we want to find trades that are extremely strong relative to the move that we've seen recently. So I'm going to construct a custom search. We're going to find a couple of picks for the future, and then I'm going to conclude the video. I'm just going to put out an order here on SPY. If I am able to get my fill. So if it makes a marginally low, starts to pull away here, I may start to take a little bit more profit into a long red candle. Okay. So what search are we going to construct? So I'm going to make a custom search here, and here's a couple of criteria. So first, I like to have a price above 10. I like to have an average volume of 1,000. I like to have an ATR of above 2% and a little bit of auction liquidity, maybe like -6 or -4. No ETF. So this is the basic criteria I have on pretty much all my trades. I want to see a stock that has relative strength to the market on a D1 basis and probably an H1 basis as well. So we've scanned that here. We got 202 items. So we have a lot of items. All right. Now the second thing I want is I don't want any stock that has earnings within like 5 days. So let's take those out. We got a lot of earnings coming up. We got to be careful about that guy. Okay. Now let's see if there's a stock that's compressing on the D1 here. Okay, so we have a lot of stocks that are compressing on the D1. Let's see how they are looking. Let's see if they have any sort of strength. AEM. Okay, holding up decently well. ANVS. Hey, DKS, we traded that a couple of days ago. Okay, not looking awful. Looking okay. FANG. FANG looking okay, breaking through this downward sloping trend line. This is a decent move, a little choppy. Get in on a pullback. FDX is looking nice. Post-earnings breakout, able to grind higher. Not really doing a whole lot. FDX is looking pretty good. I'm going to set a little downward sloping trend line right here. If it can get through that, I think that could be a pretty nice opportunity. There's some horizontal resistance here, so not a ton of overhead room. MS selling off a little bit, hitting a little bit of resistance at that all-time high. NU, Para, that's nothing going on there. Play. PLTR is a really nice one. PLTR is a very nice one. It's at this all-time, another resistance here. We're just kind of hitting some, gutting some tail, so not crazy about it, but I do like the strength that I'm seeing. Roblox, I know it's been pretty nice. Grinding up higher. Also not a ton of room on Roblox. Where is this guy? Nope. All right. It's pretty decent. Again, we have a little bit of room here. A little bit of support coming into play, or sorry, resistance coming into play. Riven I like as well. Compressing a little bit of resistance there. SU, compressing a little bit. Pretty choppy stock. Not a fan of that. TGTX, also okay. Not doing too bad. So that's looking pretty nice. Let's see if we can find a stock that has above its 20-day high. Okay, HBAN. It's a nice move. ISRG. ISRG has made a nice move post earnings today. I like this move over here. This nice one to buy off of dips. That's ISRG again. Let's see anything else. SLB, Wall. I know Wall has been nice. Let's see if it's still looking good today. Yeah, it's compressing a little bit. Made a pretty big move, but still not looking too bad above its gains. This is a nice post earnings move. So I think we're looking for some stocks that have some post earnings volatility, and they are able to just get anything going over here. MSTR is really nice. It's hitting a little bit of resistance right here. At this 440 level, but certainly quite strong today. A lot of volume. Crypto has been having a surge recently, and when it has a surge, it can really start to get things rolling. So it looks like that is a little bit too aggressive right now. Let's see that a stock is perhaps above its range here. And these are just some different type series. These are all different ways to measure strength. So let's see a stock that is in the top 75% of its range. Okay, that's what I like. And let's see if there's a stock that has, it is above its SMA 20. It's a pretty recent move. Okay, that doesn't help a lot. Let's take that out. Maybe a stock that's above its AVWAP-E, and maybe above all its SMAs. Okay, so we got 65 stocks. These are all pretty high here. Not doing too much. Let's see if there's a stock that has a little bit more relative strength on a shorter term basis. Okay, we're still looking good. What about trade signals here? Trade signals across the board. There's BX, okay. Trade signals across the board. Coin, ENVX. Got a couple of guys here. CCL. Okay, let's take a look at some of these. So these are on longer term trade signals. So they're just pulling back, but they are good stocks. MMM, I know that's choppy, but holding on decently well. PFE, SPR, SWKS. UNH, big move post earnings. I like Urban quite a bit here, compressing after this move down. If we can get through this trend line, then we can get something going. WPM's not bad. Yeah, so a couple of ones that I am liking here. Coin is also pretty decent. I like this bullish engulf on the daily chart here. If it can hold all of its gains, it could be a nice little move overnight over here. So watching for that. Yeah, so couple of picks that I like here. And I'm just gonna put these are not gonna be actual picks, but we're just gonna kind of mark them here. Coin is pretty nice. Coin, JMIA, Docu. What were the other ones that I said here? Urban. Urban is not too bad. BX has been very nice. Earlier today, it's made a really nice move on its little run there. So these are some stocks to just keep an eye on for the next few days, see how they're doing, and continue to compile and refine your list of very, very strong stocks.